Hey, can I ask you something? You know that feeling where your life looks okay on the outside, but inside you still feel slightly on edge and guarded? Like you've done so much work on yourself and you still can't quite relax into how good things could be? If that's you, I want to tell you about something I'm running. I'm hosting a live 90-minute masterclass called Why You Keep Hitting an Invisible Ceiling Even After All the Work. And this is for the people who are not new to healing. You've done therapy. You've done heaps of personal development and growth. You understand your patterns, but you still notice moments where you hold back. You overthink. You can't fully receive good things. Or part of you is still waiting for something to go wrong. In this masterclass, I'm going to explain why that happens. Why it's not because you're broken, why it's not because you missed something, and what actually helps your system to move forward without forcing it. It's happening Friday, February 27th at 11 a.m. Sydney, Australia time. And it's live. If something in this feels like it's speaking directly to you, you can grab your spot through the link in the show notes. I'd really love to have you in the room. See you there. Welcome to Growing Tall Poppies, Thrive After Trauma. I'm your host, Dr. Nat Green, and I am so excited to have you join me as we discuss what it means to navigate your way through trauma or significant challenges and not just survive, but to thrive after it. This is a space for people who've been through trauma or adversity, have done some healing, and know they're meant for more than just coping. This podcast is about post-traumatic growth, not getting back to who you used to be. Rather, understanding who you are now and learning how to stand tall without shrinking, forcing, or abandoning yourself. Here, we explore identity after adversity, integrity and visibility wounds, nervous system wisdom, and what it really takes to move forward in a way that feels aligned, embodied, and true. You will hear a blend of deep solo conversations and powerful guest interviews with people who have lived this work, not just studied it. Because growth doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from understanding how you adapted, honouring your nervous system, and gently updating the old agreements that no longer fit the life you're ready to live. If you're ready to stop hiding, stop performing, and start owning who you are becoming, then you are in the right place. Let's grow tall together. I'm really excited today to bring you our next guest on the Growing Tall Poppies podcast. It's my absolute pleasure and privilege to welcome a beautiful lady who I've recently been introduced to and connected with. And as you're going to find out today, she is nothing short of inspirational and amazing. She has had some pretty significant trauma experiences, and through these, she's found her calling and is a wonderful example of a tall poppy, constantly shining her light bright despite her adversity and making a difference in the lives of so many. So I'd love for you to meet Katherine Luna Sol, and welcome, Katherine.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. So let's start with you giving us a brief introduction of who you are and what you do in the world.
Yeah. So I am an animal communicator and animal healer. I actually prefer the term psychosomatic practitioner, though,
Hmm.
because it explains what I do a little bit more in depth, where um, I look at the body of an animal and I'm able to heal things within it through quantum physics, different modalities I've learned over about 6 or 7 years. And the training I went through as myself and my own soul with learning how the psychosomatic relationship affects the body, how a narrative or a trauma can show up like tension stored in the sacrum or, a limp in the left hind or something like that. So there's not really a method to it because it is so unique to each being. It's really about listening and having the internal capacity to show up and look at that animal and to witness its story without judgment. And then I bring in all of my tools as far as being an emotion code practitioner, Tucker biokinetic technique practitioner, um, I've done mystery school where you learn very, very amazing esoteric type of connections and how to work with energy medicine. And I've brought that into my animal healing business. And it is incredible to see immediate results, long lasting results, and also how being a voice for the animals allows such deeper connection for them and their human, which is exceptional.
Oh, I love that so much. And I know we met only last week and we talked about some of the amazing things that you do. And I was just really drawn to you and your energy. And I'm just so amazed because we love our animals, don't we? I mean, we're very
Absolutely.
deeply connected and intertwined with our animals. And I know that a lot of our listeners really have, as a result of the trauma and things they've been through, have a special animal that they connect with that has held them in their deepest, darkest moments. So, yeah, I'm really fascinated to hear more about how you started on this path, and yeah, I'm sure everyone else is too.
Absolutely, yes. And I love that you have already brought up how an animal can be there for us through that trauma. And even if we don't have the exact language as to why that animal is there to help us, it is, we know that they are there for a reason. Or we think
Mhm.
it's maybe like a silly thought, like, oh, this is my soul. No, but they actually are. You and that
Mm,
animal have a soul contract to go through these certain experiences, and they can reflect what you need to heal back towards you, which can be a gift and a blessing. But in my journey, I took it a step further where instead of us being these almost harshly reflected mirrors where, oh my gosh, that means I need to heal my sister wound. Okay, well, and then
mm,
not only are you having to heal your own trauma, but you have the fear and the nervousness about, oh my gosh, my animal has, something on their left side showing up, and now I'm also fearful. So my
mm,
job is to separate it's to separate the human and the animal energetically, but allow union. So I call it sovereignty and
mm.
union. So you
Love it.
can be with one another and you can be guides on your journey. You can have a soul contract where you both step into your power, but not at the cost of one another. And that's
Mm.
massive. And
Yes.
that's where I do a lot of things that are very science-backed. I went to UC Davis for pre-veterinary medicine. I worked in large animal clinics for years. I delivered baby horses for years going to college. It was the most fun sleeping in a barn and delivering baby horses at night.
Oh.
Oh my, so much fun. And I also have this very intuitive and very spiritual type of element that is in the work, and I see them combined so fluidly. I really see them as one, I don't see it as separate. And a lot of people are waking up to, okay, yeah, these animals are our soulmates. They are helping us work through this.
Yeah.
But the huge piece that we really need to be able to bring awareness to and heal is how to walk on a journey without codependency.
Mm.
So our animals don't need to take stuff on in order for us to heal it. But what I see is we get to that portion where I mean, really, truly, mostly everyone is at that stage right now where their animal is mirroring back their issues.
Mm-hmm.
But my goal is to get people past that, where we can identify it, heal it, and get past it. Our animal no longer has to carry it. Our animal no longer has to suffer for it. We don't
Mm.
have to suffer. So there is such an it's complex, but it's also fluid and beautiful way of identifying the issues, bringing the awareness. I use all my tools in my training to untangle it, heal it, release it, let it go. And then we can create a new soul contract that says, hey, let's both step into our power without suffering, which is
Mm.
massive. And
Yes.
I learned that through the loss of many of my animals. So a lot
Mm.
of soul contracts where it was, um, I will definitely, I'll probably cry at some point here.
That's
Um,
okay.
but
Tears are welcome here. Always have tears.
right. I mean, with the depth of, our journeys, tears are normal and natural.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. And it's all part of we need to feel to be able to heal. We absolutely do. And it's when we shut off our heart space and our ability to really feel and own our emotions that the suffering continues, I think anyway.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I would say a very tough point where my journey started, and I did not consciously understand what was going on or what I was about to go through. But my very first horse was a gift to me. I had
Mhm.
worked at a barn locally, and I didn't know anything about horses at 17. I had ridden them maybe once a year, was very obsessed with them. It did kind of run in my family. I had a lot of great grandparents and grandparents who were ranchers and owned farms in the Midwest, and it was something where you could tell there was horse girl chromosomes in my
Yep.
being. You knew it. And when I was, I mean, even younger than that, I used to line up stuffed animals on the staircase and I would
Hmm.
teach them. And so at 3 years old, and it's not normal to have memories of ourselves when we're that young, but I clearly remember setting my animals out and teaching them, instructing them and talking to them and saying, okay, guys, this is what we're going to do over here. So from a very young age, my soul knew, even if I consciously wasn't quite aware.
Mm.
And when my first horse was given to me, it I mean, my whole life changed. I got a free horse
Mm.
from cleaning stalls, mucking stalls and helping out at a ranch. And I fell in love with this horse. And I asked the owner, I said, hey, I'm really getting attached to her. What plans do you have for her? And she goes, oh, I think I'll just give her to you.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. So
wow.
um, I'm like, you just changed my life. And okay, well, I'm at Starbucks. I gotta go. And I'm just like, you changed my whole life. It was just an absolutely incredible moment where someone doesn't understand the impact that they just had on
Mm.
you. Um,
Yes.
but it was such a blessing. And so I started my journey with her. I ended up changing from wanting to go to UCLA to be a dermatologist because I struggled with acne when I was younger and I just wanted
Hmm.
to be of service and help other people have clear skin. But when I was given my horse, I changed from UCLA to UC Davis and I wanted
Okay.
to be pre-vet. That was, and I mean, it was clear. It was like night and day. I know where I'm going. I know who I am now. It was
Mm.
incredible. So I started my journey with her. I took lessons from a trainer. I threw myself into every large animal experience I could have, training, medicine, interning with veterinarians, volunteering, anything I could get my hands on. I fully immersed myself into it. And when she was about, I would say, 3 years old, so very young for a horse,
Yeah.
she began having an issue called chronic colic. And
Hmm.
colic is the number one killer of horses.
Yes.
It is, are you familiar with it?
Yeah.
So it can be a fatal stomach ache.
Mm.
And, the reasons, the causes of it can be dehydration. Maybe they ate something. Maybe the weather shifted and they just didn't drink quite enough to
Mm-hmm.
regulate. There's so many reasons. And a lot of the times we don't know what the cause is,
Mm-hmm.
but very common types of what you'd go to in emergency is called Banamine. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's an oral administration, and you can also do IV. And for years, I focused on doing the oral Banamine for her in an emergency. And when she continued to have chronic colic, I had to learn how to do IV administration because
Okay.
it got into their bloodstream so much faster. So I really went through this Western medicine um, deep dive trying to save my own horse.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a colic surgery, which is a very, very serious surgery, actually at UC Davis. And she went through her healing after that. But I saw how hard it was on her.
Mm.
Um, I used to be, I remember just being at like a young 17, 20-year-old. I mean, so back young when she was my horse, and being in job interviews and saying, I need to have my phone on me because I have a horse who's chronically sick. And if I
Mm.
get a call, I need to go. Like that was my personality.
Yeah.
That was my
Yeah.
identity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a horse mommy and my girl gets sick. So it was emotionally exhausting, financially exhausting, but
Mm.
just, I mean, to have the love of your life and to have her, get so sick at any moment at the drop of a hat.
Mm.
It's so hard to live with. If you have a child, you can understand how that would
Mm.
feel. If you have an animal,
Absolutely.
you know how that feels. So that was miserable, and I did everything. I mean, besides just Banamine, I did pelleted haze, and then 24/7 forage and turnout, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and this lifestyle change. I tried everything, and nothing would cure it altogether. And
Mm.
I never gave up on her until she needed her second colic surgery, and it was so terrible. I just asked her, I'm like, do you want to go through that? And she's like, no, I
Mm.
don't. So I had to let her go that day. And she was absolutely a soulmate because I was too much in trauma and just absolutely, devastated to understand what was going on.
Mm.
But ooh, when she died, I laid my body on top of hers. And I was just saying a lot of prayers and just like, thank you so much, thank you so much, I love you. And this is insane, but her last exhale came out of me. So I
Mm.
actually, I'm praying and praying, and then I even tasted, I don't know what it's called, but the blue liquid they inject them with in order to euthanize them. I actually tasted it on my tongue.
Mm.
And at the time, I was like, what the heck? I just
Mm.
thought, wow, what a gift for her to give me that kind of spiritual experience. And I had no idea what it meant. Um, it wasn't bringing her back, but it was something I would never be able to fully explain. And I took it as a gift in a way of being like, wow, we're really connected. Like, oh my
Mm.
gosh. And so from there, I believe it was really her guiding me from heaven. But I say I was hell bent to heal. I
Yes.
I jumped into every healing modality, and the first one I found was the Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. And
Mm-hmm.
he has since created the Emotion Code, the Body Code, and the Belief Code. And
Okay.
these are staples in my life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and for animals, I am an Emotion Code practitioner, and then I do my own method of the Belief Code and Body Code as for how the animal instructs me best to help them. So after her death, dived into the emotion code, the body code. I started doing that once a month. I had insane experiences where, like, right before my appointments, I would have experiences that were to trigger deeper childhood wounds so that I could bring them up in my session and then
Yeah.
go through the real life experience of how healing something at age 3 or 4 helped me at age 25.
Yeah.
So it was wild. I'm gonna take a drink of water here.
Yeah.
Got my
Um,
water leaking out of my eyes.
Need to replace it. So just as you're taking that drink there, I'm just interested. I'm just wondering, I mean, you had this deep, deep connection and such a beautiful soul connection with this amazing animal that you were gifted. I mean, what an amazing experience for you. So, and that began your journey moving forward. I'm just wondering if we could just go back a little bit, maybe, and if you can share an overview. I mean, you knew that all along since 3, you were talking to your stuffed animals, your toys, and teaching them. So there was this inner knowing. Just wondering what personal trauma you had in your childhood going up that led you to that deep connection with your beautiful horse?
Yeah. Um, I'm definitely an empath
Mm,
amongst many other. I have all the clear gifts, all of them.
yeah.
So I grew up thinking we all had these things, that we all
Mm,
talk to
yeah.
animals. We don't.
No.
Um, but when I was little, I had gone through sexual assault
Mm-hmm.
at very young ages
Yeah.
by multiple people and different
Mm,
genders. I was raised in a very harsh environment, especially for someone so sensitive.
mm,
So I grew up with learning that my survival depended on how sensitive I could be to others' emotions, moods, desires,
mm,
wants, and how I could fulfill them. I
yeah.
had no sense of self. And I say that, and clearly I did in some way, but being able to look back at it now as an adult at 32, I really see, wow,
Mm,
having being in touch with my identity wasn't an option for
no.
25 years,
No, you had to,
for
you had to keep yourself safe. You had to do
yeah,
everything you could, which was please everybody else, put their needs first, and completely disconnect from your own.
yes.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is I have very, very clear memories where I can even remember the thought that I had at an exact moment after a trauma. And after that, a lot of it would be blacked out. I wouldn't remember it, but I
Mm-hmm.
would remember something like, should I tell my mom what that person just did to me? And that's a thought from
Mm.
age 3.
Wow.
That is such a little tiny kiddo
Yeah.
having this awareness of her consciousness and the
Mm-hmm.
subconscious programs and thoughts.
Yeah.
Um, and I, it's amazing to look back and see how deeply gifted I was. I just
Mm.
wasn't able to use it to nurture myself
Yeah.
until I was in a more safe environment.
Yeah.
Um,
And that makes total sense, doesn't it? I mean, you needed, as you said, you needed to do what you needed to do to survive, to move through that. But being an empath in that environment must have been excruciating to feel everything so deeply and not be able to do anything. So I can see exactly why the gift of this beautiful animal was so important because someone gave that to you and you were able to trust something and someone
yes,
so deeply, which you'd never been able to do. That's beautiful.
yes. Oh, and just the first time having something that she depended on me to live. Who's going to give her her grain? Who's going to clean her
Mm,
stall? Um, that was really, I felt so empowered finally stepping into myself as a horse mom because it was the first time I really was able to connect with my true identity.
Yeah.
Um, and I was always very involved with leadership and student government and clubs in high school and even middle school. And I think that's kind of that light worker program within
Mm.
me is you're just drawn to how can I make a difference?
Yes.
Um, and to be able to find out even more who I am within my horse, that was truly incredible.
Mm.
There was so many midnight drives to the barn where, oh, I'm really not doing well. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to go drive and see my horse.
Yeah.
And just, I remember being there I had I think a 96 Chevy Tahoe, old Tahoe, and it's pouring down rain. It's dark, and I'm just sitting next to my horse, and she's just sitting there eating, have a little snack. And, sometimes I was happy and relaxing. Sometimes I arrived bawling my eyes out.
Mm.
She was there for me however I needed to show up.
Yes.
Um,
And
man.
so I mean, it sounds like as you were telling story about her life and the connection with you that she taught you so much. And was it her that really helped you get to who you really were and your identity, or was it something else?
I believe it was her, along with the other horses I also had. I think there's the way our animals show up in our lives, it's kind of like they feel different depending on what the soul contract or soul agreement or soulmate connection is.
Hmm.
So there's some horses who guide and it feels a little more external.
Hmm.
It feels like, okay, I can tell they're walking next to me.
Yeah.
She was such a close guide. It She was so close you wouldn't even know it was her. You think it's your own self, honestly. I get goosebumps saying it. She was one of the ones where they're so close you'd almost think, oh, I really wish they'd show up. And they're like, I'm literally right here. I've been here the whole time. I'll be here forever, whether I'm with
Mm.
you on the earth or not. So with her, and I realized how much healing she offered me. And that is where I actually started my first business where I did
Hmm.
therapeutic writing for children with special
Oh,
needs. And
okay.
I was blessed with, at one time I had 7 horses and my program was doing very well. And all of these horses had such different gifts to offer me, but she was my original answered prayer. And
Hmm.
that is what I named my program after. So
Okay.
I really was blessed with animals who taught me very deep, complex lessons and helped me heal in different ways. And they became my family unit. So she was like the catalyst for my soul.
Hmm.
Some were a catalyst to help me understand boundaries. Some were a catalyst to introduce me to feeling fully empowered through surrender. So
Mm.
very weird, did so many lessons with so many unique souls. But she was really the guiding spirit who she'll never leave me, that's for
Mm.
sure.
Yeah, it
And
sounds like she's such a huge part of your life and always will be. I love that so
absolutely,
much. Yeah.
yeah.
So, what else did you learn? I mean, clearly there's so many parallels about your journey with her and then the work you now do. What have you learned as a result of this ability and this gift to communicate with animals the way you do, and how that
Yeah,
relates to people in the world as well?
I think the most important part of what I learned with having so many extra senses was sometimes your internal environment is the only environment you have control over.
Mm-hmm.
So there was years of really an insane amount of trauma that I went through in lots of different aspects, losing horses, losing animals, going through narcissistic abuse, waking up to things I experienced when I was younger as far as sexual assault. And my external was absolute chaos during my
Mm-hmm.
awakening.
Okay.
And I had no control over that. We can't control anyone but ourselves. And I did not have control over those things.
Mm.
And that made me turn inward so deeply that it was, kind of this hell bent, well, I can't control that. So I'm going to make inside of me peaceful. I'm going to create safety within myself.
Mm.
And I did that through multiple different tools, and that created this structure and foundation of being able to survive as a highly gifted empath
Mm-hmm.
and also to find myself, to find more joy. So even from just being able to survive, it helped me start tapping into thriving as well.
Mm. And yeah, that's, as you know, that's what we do on this podcast. It's really about how to help people go from just surviving, which we know can take all our energy anyway, to actually getting
Yeah.
to a place where we know we're thriving. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really fascinated by your story and how you've turned that barely surviving through to thriving. So yeah, keep sharing. It's great, and
Yeah.
I know our listeners will be loving it.
Yeah. It I would say the work I do now, a lot of it is science backed and based in quantum physics. And it can be very easy for someone to resonate with that. Okay, that makes sense. I can see
Yeah.
how you go from this and this, and that's the result you get. That's very easy to connect with. But there is also just that completely esoteric and very spiritual type of fluidity where honestly, for someone who loves certainty or who, really would have found a lot of safety in certainty, I created these methods and started doing what I'm doing to help animals, not because it made sense, but because I asked, what do you need? And whatever that animal said that they needed, let's give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's crazy. So clearing energetic cords from you and rewriting contracts and, making old contracts null and void and, separating ourselves, hooking ourselves up to our sovereign selves and creating this healthy dynamic. That's what stops your colic. Okay. Whatever, whatever you say. Um, so it really was, it wasn't like this work waited for me to be ready.
Yeah.
Um, it it just it was about survival. I turned to spirituality for survival, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that allowed me to find bliss even when the physical was maybe terrible or awful.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to connect with the parts of myself that were always at peace or had kind of that higher wisdom and, that equal
Mm.
view of, yeah, these few years are going to be really shitty, but you're also going to find this part of yourself and this part of yourself, and you're going to hone these gifts. And these are all of the animals that you're going to help that other
Mm.
people have given up on. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Mm.
So yeah, I feel like when my girl passed away, it's I would say she held my hand from heaven, but it was so much closer than that,
Mm.
where there wasn't even a moment where it was like, I wonder what's going. It was just like I threw myself into healing. I did Kundalini yoga, meditation, inner child healing,
Mm.
lots of prayer. I changed from eating like microwavable popcorn to all organic. It was a complete life overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
And it allowed my gifts to open up. It allowed me to finally start a connection with myself, create inner peace when even the external was going insane. Um, I was able to stand in front of very, very toxic or manipulative narcissist and still hold my own, and not in an aggressive way, but in a grounded and centered in my own self way.
Wow.
So
How
people
did you
would,
do that? That's
um,
amazing.
I created the relationship with myself and, inside
Mm,
of me.
yeah.
So the Kundalini yoga is something I love because it is the only form of yoga that helps you release the energy from your emotional body.
Mm-hmm.
So in Kundalini yoga, they have multiple different subtle energy bodies. And as an empath, our emotional bodies get so overloaded. And that's why a lot of, not the only reason, but that's why a lot of empaths have, chronic illness or a lot of disease,
Mm-hmm.
autoimmune issues, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
So the first time I did Kundalini yoga, I'm in there, I'm doing the exercises, and I am bawling. And I'm like,
Mm.
well, this is the one. This is the yoga. This is
Yep. Found it.
it,
Got the message loud and clear.
it gave me a sense of relief and peace that nothing else had been able to give me. And I actually, I just randomly had found it because in the area I said, hey, I'm going to get this 7-day pass to try every single yoga class they have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just ended up going to the Kundalini one because it was what I paid for. And I started doing it every single day for the rest of my life. And
Wow.
it's, I mean, I think you have to do it to really understand how much of a weight it can lift off of you
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of weights that we carry, especially as
Yes.
sensitive beings or empaths,
Yeah.
anyone who's energetically aware, or if you just even feel, if you have a good heart, a soft heart,
Mm.
uh, it sometimes you don't know that what pains you the most is something that can be let go of.
Yes.
And doing these, the yoga, inner child meditations, and really looking within and getting to know myself, I didn't know that I could drop off 60, 70 pounds of emotional weight, but I could.
Wow.
And that was a massive gift. And so
Mm.
from that, it allowed me to tap into my gifts more. It allowed me to hear the language of animals so much clearer.
Mm-hmm.
And it allowed me to really offer them a lot more healing because instead of my own beliefs, limiting beliefs, perceptions popping up, instead of that, it was so much quieter. It was really allowing me to witness that animal and its sovereignty so I could be fully
Mm.
in service and not have my own shit popping up.
Yeah, yeah, because as we know that, there's always layers to our healing and it can pop up when we least expect it. And it's about how you can retain that level of groundedness and process things and keep working on yourself while also working your magic on your clients, whether they're animals
Absolutely.
or people. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you think there's any specific qualities or personal attributes that you see as being key to move from trauma into post-traumatic growth for our listeners?
Yes. I'd like to put a word to it.
Mm-hmm.
Tenacity.
Mm,
Um, almost at sometimes you need a delusional amount of hope.
yeah.
I think hope is huge and tenacity. They speak about faith the size of a mustard seed. And I think even if you don't even have the mustard seed, if something makes your spirit even half smile, like,
Mm,
oh, it's that little bit of like, maybe you just see a little bit of sun pop out from under the cloud or something like
yes.
that. If that's what makes you feel alive, chase it. Chase it
Mm,
like your life depends on it because your life does depend on it.
yeah.
If I hadn't, well, I was gonna say if I hadn't found healing, but I feel if healing didn't choose me, because that's how it
Mm,
felt. It felt like
yeah.
it chose me and said, "Get over here."
Mm,
But there are a lot of different ways my life could have gone, and it wouldn't have been thriving and it wouldn't have been surviving.
Mm,
So when you feel that spark or that little bit of hope, just chase it.
yeah,
Chase it. Even if it doesn't make sense, and even if people are like, that's really weird, go for it.
exactly. Because you could be answering your soul's calling and not even realize. It sounds
Yeah,
like you are when you get that,
precisely.
yeah, when you get that deep, deep inner knowing and connect to whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. I love that you said follow it with everything you've got.
Absolutely. In my journey, I didn't know why I was doing things. I
Hmm.
just, beyond knowing, I wasn't going to take a different path. So when I started getting into spirituality and understanding the more like mystic wisdoms and
Hmm.
understandings uh, that allow me to create exceptional health for these animals, they're things that maybe mainstream religion are kind of like, hey, that's a little weird. But if you actually look at it, there it's not. There's nothing
No,
harmful in exceptional health and extraordinary connection with your animal. So
exactly.
I was actually raised Catholic, and I find a
Hmm.
lot of beauty in religion. I love divinity. I love having that connection with, above and so below. I really, really love that. But I did need to be able to hear my own voice louder than the voices around me to become
Mm.
who I am today. So if you're waiting on someone else's approval or for others to say, hey, that sounds normal, you're not gonna become all that you can be, and you
Mm.
won't be able to fully step into your purpose and help others. So with the horses and with the animals, it, they did guide me on this path, and it didn't make sense to anyone else, especially like my family system,
Mm.
not supportive at all. No, that's
Yeah.
not what we were taught. That's,
Mm.
I don't know what that is, kind of
Yeah.
almost like hoping all fail. And instead, I would get results like my horse's limp is gone, or my one of the wildest things, and was I had someone reach out to me in quite an emergency saying, I think I need to put my dog down. I am very worried about her. Can you help? And I said, let me try. Let me give it a shot. And if an animal needs to pass over, it is my responsibility to honor that.
Hmm.
And in session, it is my responsibility to stay in integrity with their consent. So if they say, hey, stop, I will.
Yeah.
If they say, hey, I can't process that, I will. So I always have to listen to them and really let go of like my ego or what I'm hoping for out of the
Yeah.
session. And with that doggy, I was able to, they were at the vet, and she goes, okay, start working on her. I'm okay, because I do a lot of my work distance. I'm working on her. And in about an hour, she's like, my dog is completely different. She is
Oh.
so much better. She is alert. She is walking. She's not throwing up. She's like, I left the vet's office feeling like my dog is doing well. And I'm just like, oh my
Wow.
goodness. I mean, every session looks different, but for that dog, me working on her with the subtle energies, with quantum physics techniques, and just bringing all of my tools and my gifts into the session with her. We did a few more sessions also over time, but that added a year to 2 years to her life.
Wow.
That's insane. And quality of life too, not just they're breathing, they're here,
Yeah.
but actually they're enjoying life. They're eating. They look happy. They're
Mm.
connecting with their owner and looking in their eyes and being like, hell yeah.
Mm.
So
So being able to do that and then give their human back that gift of quality, great time with them until the time does come, that must be such a gift. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Catherine, I love that you shared that story, and I know there's so many more. So, as we move to wrapping up this conversation, where can our listeners find out more about you and find you online?
Yes, through my website, through Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook. Depending on when this comes out, my business name currently is Divine Grace Animal Healing and Communication.
Hmm.
However, I am changing now into Antidote Psychosomatics.
Oh, very
So,
good.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
We'll
just
put both on in the show notes so
wonderful,
that if one's not working, they can go to your new one.
wonderful.
That would be
Yes,
fabulous.
I
Oh,
call the method I created of all of the things, all of my certifications and credentials put into one is I call it the antidote because whatever problem an animal has, my work is based on what's the antidote to this. So if it's a
mm,
belief system or a trapped emotion or a misalignment of the bones or an organ that's not properly functioning, what is the antidote? What's going to
okay.
heal it and correct it at the root cause? And so that is really that's the inspiration and passion under the antidote for
Oh, goodness me. I love that so much. What a gift. What a
it.
gift for you to be able to share with the world, to heal yourself, but then pay it forward through healing our most beautiful, trusted companions. I love that so much. Thank you. You're a blessing.
Oh, I love it. I'm so excited about it. And yeah, oh my gosh, especially being able to work remotely. I
Mm,
want to help everyone. I want to help
yes.
everyone. We don't even know how good it can get yet,
Mm,
which is pretty magnificent.
absolutely. So, one thing I like to ask my guests at the end is what do you think your younger self would think of where you are now and what you've achieved, especially given
Oh,
what she experienced in her life?
I love this question. Um, I'm like, can I answer it without crying? My little self would think I'm the coolest girl ever. She would be so proud, and she would be very proud of what I've accomplished, but I don't think she would be surprised because she knew that this is exactly who I am.
Mm.
It would be very much like you're so cool. Like, you're so cool. You're so great. I love what you do. And then, like, put on some super sparkly cowgirl boots and, like, play around and yeehaw and have a bunch of fun.
I love it. I love it. Oh, that's so, so powerful. Oh, yeah. And as you said, and as you talked us through and walked us through your story, it was so clear that that inner knowing about your true identity was always there. And you found a way to trust that and reconnect with your gut and that inner knowing through the methods that worked for you. So, oh,
Yeah.
what a
I
blessing.
do have, if you're open to me sharing one last thing, because my horse is
Yes.
not going to not say it. I can, she's right with me.
Yep.
So, my first horse who passed away at the time, and this is where the logic didn't matter. Logic was going to limit me.
Mm-hmm.
Intuition, trust, and following my soul was going to really expand my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I was raised Catholic. I'd never believed in past lives. And when my girl passed away, I went on this insane journey for years of deeply healing myself and gaining a lot of wisdom and tools. And she actually reincarnated back to me. So,
Mm.
which is, and this is her.
Mm,
So
she's beautiful. I love the
she,
white diamond on her head. She's beautiful.
oh my goodness. So she let me know who she was, where she was, everything that I needed to know in order to come get her. And that was a huge transformative experience for me to understand that I'm a channeler of wild horses. because when she connected with me, I connected with her whole herd. And she was born in the wild as a wild Mustang. And I connected with her herd, but I didn't understand what I was doing until she fully dropped in. So for about 2 days, I was going through a very weird experience of like deeply crying, feeling this insane loss of life, loss of freedom. I mean, I was just curled up in bed, devastated and bawling and not sure where this was coming from. But
Mm-hmm.
my nervous system, I mean, everything. And when she fully dropped in and let me know, it connected the dots as far as I had felt what that wild herd felt when the USDA Forestry connected with them, and they could feel that was I was sensing their loss of life and their loss of lifestyle because
Mm-hmm.
they were rounded up from the wild and then brought in, and they're brought into holdings, and then people come and adopt them,
Mm.
and it's a very traumatic experience. But that was an incredible experience for me, and if I hadn't gone through my healing experience, I wouldn't have been able to trust that the information I was receiving was genuine and true.
Mm.
And I would have doubted myself too much to probably go, well, I guess I'm gonna go adopt the baby Mustang because she told me to. So, um, yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
But that's really my deepest pain birthing me into the most beautiful purpose that I could have
Mm.
never expected.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a guest on our podcast today. And yeah, I'm so grateful that we've connected. And I know that our listeners are going to find this fascinating. And I would encourage them to reach out to you as well. So you can do the healing with their animals online. And I love that.
Absolutely. Thank you. And
Uh,
thank you for offering so many a space to honor how trauma can birth us into something so much more beautiful than that
yeah.
pain.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for spending this time with me on Growing Tall Poppies. My hope is that today's episode has offered you something more than insight, that it's helped you feel a little more connected to who you are now, a little more trusting of your body, and a little more permission to stand tall without shrinking or forcing yourself forward. Post-traumatic growth isn't about fixing yourself or returning to who you once were. It's about understanding how you adapted, honouring your nervous system, and gently choosing what no longer needs to come with you. New episodes of Growing Tall Poppies are released weekly, every Tuesday, and I'd love for you to continue walking this path with us as we explore identity after adversity, integrity and visibility wounds, nervous system wisdom, and what it truly means to grow forward, grounded, aligned, and embodied. If this episode resonated, I invite you to subscribe, follow, share it with someone that you feel might need it, or simply take a quiet moment to reflect on what's ready to move forward for you. You can also find me on Instagram at Dr. Nat Green, on Facebook at Dr. Natalie Green, or over on YouTube at Dr. Nat Green. And remember, you don't need to rush, and you don't need to hide anymore. Stay connected, stay true, and keep standing tall like the tall poppy you are. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.